He's doing a great job calling games on Fox. We're seeing him in studio now. The USC Trojan turned New York Jet. He also spent a cup of coffee, Philadelphia Eagles, and more. He's now here on the Rich Eisen Show to talk about everything going on in the world of the NFL. And he's calling Cardinals at Niners, late window, 4:25 p.m. Eastern on Fox with Kevin Kugler and the great Laura Oakman, who's one of the greatest people on planet Earth. Mark Sanchez here on the Rich Eisen Show. How are you, Mark?
Richie, baby, what's up, man? How we doing?
I'm great, man. Life good for you?
Buddy, if I were any better, it'd be against the law.
I love it. I love it, dude. So let's just jump right into it here and ask you, what do you think is going through Jordan Love's mind right now?
Whoa,
Mark.
I mean, hopefully he doesn't test positive, right?
Exactly.
That would be the biggest deal there. And I mean, you said it right before I came on, that what a crazy 72 hours. We felt like pieces were starting to fall in place, and we were expecting, maybe a couple big trades, and they kind of didn't happen. We're expecting the Deshaun Watson sweepstakes to come to an end, and then everything you didn't expect starts happening with Odell Beckham, with Aaron Rodgers, two staples in the NFL, and everybody's kind of reacting to stuff. So the most important thing for Jordan Love is to try and compartmentalize and block out all that noise, get in, prepare like he does, and get ready to play on Sunday, knowing, he's going to get his first start. And thankfully, he's had a ton of time. He's had a ton of reps in the system. It's not like this is week one, his rookie year. He's going to benefit from watching Aaron play this last season and a half. So if he can just hone in on that, focus on those details, I'm sure that Matt LaFleur will get him ready to roll.
I mean, you've had many roles in your time playing quarterback in the NFL, Mark, from franchise face and hope of a city and two-time championship game quarterback to backup quarterback who had to win games. So how difficult was it for Geno and Cooper Rush and Mike White and Trevor Siemian to do what they did this past week?
That last weekend, 4 dudes all coming out with W's, I believe. I mean, that is unheard of. And especially, it's different when you go into the week knowing you're going to play. Mm-hmm. But when you have to go in, like when I went in against Houston, when we're in Philly and Foles goes down with a shoulder injury back in whatever that was, 14, 15, I can't remember. But you go in mid-game, and the first play we called was like a deep post and a deep cross. I mean, this is like coming off the bench cold, shooting 3-pointers, and you're a little nervous, like, dang, I could have used a couple more warm-up throws. I could have used a full game plan and all the reps during the week, but at that point, nobody cares. Everybody's just expecting you to play and play well. And so we hit a deep ball to Macklin, and I underthrew it a tick. I think if I threw it correct, he would have walked in the end zone, but I underthrew it and he got tackled, but at least we got the completion. So when you got to go in mid-game, it's a little different than getting the reps all week. So Jordan Love's going to benefit from that. But it's funny, too, I was talking with Coward yesterday, and we talked about Mike White, and I saw something on Twitter that said the only other quarterback, or Mike White's the first quarterback to throw for 400 since Vinny Testaverde. And I was like, dang, who are all those scrubs in between?
Nah, come on now. Come on now. You're part of the ground and pound, Mark. Come on now.
That's right, baby.
Those are some of the best.
Third and six, line up with the fullback and tailback and run power.
Exactly. It's kind of crazy, dude. And White is the only quarterback who's thrown for 400 yards in his first career start, other than Cam Newton. That's it. That's the list.
It's unbelievable. I would have never thought Cam would be in that stat either. That one blew me away.
Well, he came in, as you know, like a house of fire, iconic and entertaining as he promised he would be. And now, so, Mark Sanchez here on the Rich Eisen Show.
Rich, real quick, Mark, you had a 369.
There you go.
In 2011, week 3.
There you go.
There we go.
You came close.
No slouch.
2011, week 3. I'm trying to remember.
Who did you do against?
At Oakland.
At Oakland.
369
in a black
yards.
hole where all Jets moments go to die. I remember those.
That was that wasn't a hot dog game. Hot dog was my rookie year.
Where'd you get that hot dog, by the way, Mark?
Okay, so you see on the sidelines all the time, and these guys kind of like lurk in the shadows, but they're like ball boy, shagger kind of guys.
Yeah.
and they have the blue shorts and the white shirt and a blue NFL hat. Everything's got the logo. It looks like old school, like central casting wardrobe for like a PE uniform, like so janky. And they're always on the sidelines getting stuff, filling up water and Gatorade and doing stuff. And I couldn't eat before the game because we win 3 games to start the season. We lose 3 games. And now I'm feeling like the heat from New York. And I'm like in this place before the game where I can't even like eat. I'm just so anxious about the game. And I don't eat before the game. We have an afternoon game on the West Coast. And we just blew the doors off. We're up 38-0. Game's in the bag. Mm-hmm. And I'm like, dude, I might faint. I'm going to freaking pass out. I am so lightheaded and so hungry. I need something. And the guy's like, you got a Gatorade? We got a Gatorade bar or like a power bar. I'm like, dude, I need like food. I'm like, I'll take a cheeseburger. I'll take a hot dog. And go, do you want me to run up to the concession? And I was like, yeah, anything but nachos because I can't really eat that. It's going to get too messy.
Right.
He goes, all right, I'll get you a dog. And I said, grab some mustard. And so he runs back down, hands me the dog, the mustard, as promised. And I'm trying to hide that thing. And Gumbel and Deerdorf find it on their camera. Mm. And I was like so mad after because I tried to do such a good job of hiding that thing. And, some people thought it was funny. Some people took it like, oh, what a jerk, like rubbing it in, like I could eat a hot dog on the sideline, which obviously wasn't the point.
Right.
And, if I was doing that, I wouldn't have hit it. I would have walked on the 50-yard line and ate it. So it was just, that was it.
Maybe they should cater.
Gave me a hard time.
Maybe if there was a blue tent now, that you could just say, hey, just put this thing up and, cater it.
That's the way to do it.
You know what I mean?
Go down and, like move your shoulder around like, ooh, I think I heard something, Doc. Why don't you come in and check it out? And then you got a full buffet spread in there.
And bring some mustard and relish.
Yeah, exactly.
And some cheese fries.
Mark Sanchez here on the Rich Eisen Show. Based on what you could tell, why wasn't Odell working out in Cleveland? Have you looked at any All-22 with that? What do you got for me on that?
I think some of it is just time on task. Like he's been in and out of the lineup. Baker's kind of been in and out of the lineup. And then I think this thing took on a life of its own. And then it became something that they constantly had to deal with. And, it's almost like when Baker's ready to throw and sometimes Odell's not there, it was just like square peg, round hole, and it just didn't work. And it was funny because I've been asked that question, like, did you ever have receivers like that? And I was like, I don't really remember that. I mean, I remember guys being either really good or just not that good, and you're like, damn, I threw a great ball. He should have been there. Or, man, he's really fast. I got to throw this earlier. I got to adjust to him a little bit. But I think they just missed. They just didn't quite work. And like I said, it just became something bigger than it needed to be. And then they're both overcompensating, trying too hard. And sometimes when you do that, just like a player, you can tell when they're thinking too much, they don't play fast. And when you're not playing fast, it's because you don't know what to do. And you've got to go through it over and over in your head, and you just look slow, and it just doesn't work. And so, unfortunately, that was the case. I think, honestly, at the beginning of the season, it might have been the best time to just, hey, let's see what we can get for him. But now they're just in a weird spot where they might not get anything for him, and God forbid he goes to somewhere else in the division and comes back to bite him.
That's what I'm saying. I mean, I don't know if he'd wind up in Pittsburgh. Cincinnati, I think, is straightened, but maybe the Ravens would say, let's go and stick him out there with Hollywood Brown, and
there'd be plenty of teams that kick the tires on him for sure. Just, all right, we got to make a run. A team, even New Orleans, even teams like, hey, if we got to ride with our backup here, let's give him somebody else. Let's give this defensive coordinator somebody else to stay up all night on Wednesday trying to game plan for.
Well,
you know what I mean? Like just to make it harder.
We all know who would turn him back into a Pro Bowler would be Belichick. You know it. Like that's where everybody goes to get turned back into Pro Bowlers.
I mean, everybody thinks that could be a great landing spot too because of the culture and the way he's handled everybody. And with Odell, certain guys, the Jalen Ramseys of the world, like different guys. I mean, when you say like, they're like people will use the word trouble or problem guys or locker room issues or whatever. And I don't know if that's totally fair, right? Because these guys aren't like arrested every other week. Like they're not in trouble with the law. It's just they're a little more outspoken. They express themselves a little different. And you got to deal with that stuff. And you got to manage what you're willing to deal with in an NFL locker room. and an NFL culture. And if you can handle it because of the veterans you have and other guys, and then for them to, walk the line if they have to, be the company man in some ways if they have to with some of their comments. And I think, that compensation on both sides, both sides can reap the benefit of that. So, he can go somewhere and play really well. And then, unfortunately, it'll just make the Browns look worse.
So it's not a Baker thing? Because you hear that. You had mentioned where you were yesterday. That's kind of a lair for that sort of thing. But, is it a Baker thing, Mark?
I'm still like, you're starting to see Baker play against a lot of his contemporaries. And I love his attitude. I love, his work ethic. I think he does want it to work. I just don't know if he's ever going to crack that, like, top 15, top 20 of quarterbacks in the NFL. And that's okay. It's just, and that's what they've done with their running game, with their defense, the players they've acquired, the system they run. I mean, it's heavy run now. And when Baker's been his best, and I've said this before, he's a 25 throw a game guy, 30 max. And after that, it's almost like a little bit of speed wobbles. It's almost like, this is not where we feel comfortable. Now, every once in a while, you're going to have to put it up 40 times a game. You're just going to have to. You're getting the break speed off you, and you got to come back and rally from 14, 17 points, and you got to throw it. But if they had their druthers, I would say, hey, we're going to run it, 30-plus times and throw it 25 if we absolutely have to. That's just kind of been their way for success. And now they're in this position like, are we going to pay this guy like all his contemporaries?
Now
like
you nailed it. Now that's exactly that's the issue right there, because he was a 50, 60 throw guy and winning the Heisman. You know what I mean? Like, we never ever, when Baker came out of college, thought, well, this guy can't wing it around. I mean, like, that's the way that's what he did.
Here's my only thing. Now, I get it. The numbers are there. But that's a lot of quick, RPO, shallows, slants, unders. I mean, that ain't like, going through 1, 2, and 3 reads. You got better personnel 95% of the time in every game. That's different. You know what I mean? Now you get in the NFL and you're like grinding out completions on 3rd and 5 where you got to be incredibly accurate, precise with your throws, and one ball length left or right is the difference between converting. I mean, the margin for error is so much smaller. It's different than, hey, toss a little bubble screen to CD Lamb and watch him go for 80. It's
Mark,
different. And I'm not knocking it.
No, I know.
That's what college football's become. I'm not, minimizing his success. He's one of the best to ever play, and he's a heck of a quarterback. It's just, okay, in the ranks of, he's, in the elite class of quarterbacks in the world. I mean, he's one of 32, so that's pretty special. But then you got to start, divvying up, okay, well, there's Tom Brady's and Aaron Rodgers and all these other guys. Like, there's a hierarchy to this thing, and I just don't see him in that top 20, really.
Before I let you go, Mark Sanchez, while we're on the subject of college football, how's the Tomlin contract at your alma mater working? How's that going?
I thought that was so funny because Carson mentioned it on the air.
Yeah.
And I remember hearing it, and I was like, oh, man, that's awesome. Like, dang, I didn't even think about that. I'm kind of mad. Like, I wonder if Carson and Liner and, like, all the other guys got, like, an email, and I'm pissed that I didn't have my name on the list.
Right.
And so I was like, whoa, that's pretty cool. And I saw his emphatic no at his press conference, and I was like, ooh, okay. Well,
so,
talk about your all-time backfires.
So who's on the wish list? Do you know who's on the wish list?
I still think Joe Brady'd be great. I think, I wouldn't be shocked if this goes a little bit longer, this whole search thing, and I think they throw some serious consideration and money and a whole, presentation at a lot of big-time coaches that are very established, that are well-established.
Right.
That would, like, shock you. Like the Sabins and Davos and, like, people like that, just to make everybody say no. Right? Just to make Mike Tomlin say no. Just to make, I don't know, Sean Payton, like all these guys, Andy Reid, like, hey, come to USC. Here's what we got for you. Just to make them say no. And then they land somewhere where they think, is appropriate. But I do think that I think the position sells itself. I think with the new name, image, likeness stuff, LA sells itself. you want to work in broadcasting, you want to be, a name in sports for the rest of your life. I mean, where else would you want to be? This is your spot. And I think it'd be great for whoever comes in. That stuff sells itself. But the most important thing is that they got to get these recruits to stop leaving California, right? They got to lock down, this poor usage of that word lockdown, not like COVID lockdown, but lock down the recruiting, exodus from California. Because if you keep all those guys, you're competitive right now. So I think that's the spot they're in. But I wouldn't be shocked if they throw some serious money and some serious consideration to people that are well established. That would shock people.
So just to make them say no, because it's possible one of them says, yeah, why not? Like that's
why not? Hey, what else do you have for me? Let's check it out. Hey, let's go take a visit. And boom, once you're here, I mean, I don't know if you'd leave.
No, I know. So there are. So you're saying there are boosters with large enough checks, basically.
There's got to be.
Even though Tomlin said there isn't one for him.
Maybe not for Tomlin. He's the man. That was the funniest quote.
I love you're checking your spam filter for that email for all the core. Like, how did John David Booty get that email? What the hell?
Come on, guys.
Wait a minute. All right, Mark. Have a great call. I look forward to hearing you call Cardinals at Niners. That's a pretty damn big football game, that's for sure.
We got the rematch, man. We had the duel in the desert earlier this year with Trey Lance's first start, so that was fun. And now we get the rematch with Jimmy GQ.
Fantastic. Look forward to that. Let's do this more often, Mark Sanchez. It's great to hear your voice. You be well.
Love to, man. Great to hear from you. Talk soon.
That's Mark Sanchez, Fox Sports. Again, Cardinals at Niners, late window, 4:25 p.m. Eastern on Fox. He'll be in the mic. Hey, you watched all the way to the end. Thanks for that. Watch more right here.